Okay, grade 8, this is a 4-question review of the 10.3 and 10.4 sections of Math Links 8. These are two-step algebraic equations, the first two, with a coefficient and a constant. And in the second two, they are basically three-step algebraic equations using distributive property. So in the first question, we have negative 2x minus 3 equals 9. And we've talked about it 1,000 times that when you have a two-step algebraic equation, the easiest thing to get rid of first is the constant. So if we acknowledge that in that first question, question 1, the constant is minus 3, I'm going to add 3 to both sides. Oh, heavens. After you add 3 to both sides, you'll end up with negative 2x on the left equals the sum of 9 and 3, which is 12. Then we're going to divide both sides by our coefficient, and we get x equals negative 6. In the second example, question 2, we have a two-step algebraic equation, but this time we don't have a full numerical coefficient. We have a fractional coefficient. We only have half an x. Our constant's minus 4, so the first thing I'm going to do is add 4 to both sides to get rid of the constant. I'm left with half an x equals the sum of 3 negatives and 4 positives, which is 1. I'm then going to multiply both sides by 2 to get rid of the, instead of half an x, I'll have a full x equals 2. Okay, in question 3 it says expand using distributive property. So what this means is I'm going to take my, instead of having 4 groups of x minus 4, and if we think about that, an x minus 4 looks like this, and this multiplying by 4 means I have 4 of them, not one of them, not 2 of them, but I have 4 of them. So when I see 4 groups of x minus 4, I really have 4 x's right here, and I really have minus 16 or negative 16. So 4x minus 4, or 4 groups of x minus 4, works out to be 4x minus 16 equals negative 8. I'm then going to add 16 to both sides. I get 4x equals positive 8, because 16 positives and 8 negatives is 8 positives. Divide both sides by 4, and x will equal 2. And in the last question it says solve using division first. Now the problem with this question is I can't model it because it has a negative 2 out here. If I was to say, if this wasn't a negative, and if I took my eraser and said if this wasn't a negative, I could say I have 2 groups of, there's one group of 2x minus 1, there's another group of 2x minus 1, so altogether I would have 4x minus 2. But because this is a negative, I really have to think of this as being multiplication. So I have negative 2 times 2x, which is negative 4x, and I have a negative 2 times a negative 1, which will make this a plus 2, not a negative 2. Okay? So when I multiply that first part out, I would have that. But what we have to do here is what we're saying is, instead of using distributive property, I can divide that by whatever my multiplier out here is, in this case negative 2. And instead of having negative 2 groups of 2x minus 1, I'm going to have one group of 2x minus 1. And since I divided that side by negative 2, I must divide this side by negative 2, which means this is 10.5, or positive 10.5. Add 1 to both sides. I get 2x equals 11.5. And when I divide by 2, x will equal 5.75, positive 5.75, which is what 11.5 divided by 2 is. Okay?